There we go. I was like, uh-oh, my mic's dead. But nope, it's just me being, bad with technology. But anyways, hey guys, it's Chris Maloney here. CWN Online with your CWN recap for WWE Payback 2020. I'll tell you this. So it's been a big week for this guy right here, Mr. Roman Reigns, way down to tonight. So I'll tell you this straight off, 8 matches in total tonight. And this to me beats SummerSlam. It even comes close to TakeOver. And knowing what happened with Karrion Kross, I'm going to say it beats TakeOver. So the recap shows that we've done so far. This will be the third. I'm going to say that this was probably the best pay-per-view, so to speak, in the past week or 8 days, at that. So anyways, guys, it was a great show. It's great to see them back and being live once again. I mean, you're not seeing two guys in the studio doing a kickoff show, so to speak. It's they had 5 people on the kickoff, the pre-show there. So they had Charlie Caruso, and then Booker T, Jerry the King Lawler, JBL, and then Pete Rosenberg, I want to say. Still getting used to some of the other guys' names, but I know who Sam Roberts is, but I think it's Pete Rosenberg. But anyways, so they had the pre-show, the kickoff show with the 5 people there, just going back and forth. Hilarious kind of moment took place with R-Truth. He had come out and thought it was Raw talk, and then all of a sudden they had to shut him down. And R-Truth being R-Truth, just a comedic genius. And the fact is, I think the guy's 50 years old or press than that. And to be in the shape that he is and still be in the wrestling business the way he is absolutely amazing. So, but so it was a great kickoff. One match on the kickoff show itself. So the Riot Squad defeat the Iconics by pinfall after Ruby Riot pinned Billie Kay. Tension between Riot and Morgan was the highlight of this match. One point, who was it? I think it was Liv Morgan got knocked off the apron. She got knocked off the apron, and all of a sudden the Iconics made it look like Ruby Riot had hit her from behind. That wasn't the case. Liv Morgan goes to walk off. She, was going to go and walk up the ramp backstage. And then next thing you know, Ruby Riot hits the corner, reaches for the tag, and basically, ends up tagging in. And the rest, so to speak, is, you see the fall of the Iconics, and then the Riot Squad pick up, and become a tag team once again in this match. And then all of a sudden they end up with the win. So pretty good there. And then from there, we go into the event itself. 7 matches in total as far as the event went. So I will get to my wrestler of the night as well as my match of the night at the very end here, but I'll go through the matches here. So match 1 was Bobby Lashley defeating Apollo Crews by submission to win the U.S. title. He put him in the full Nelson and then basically dropped to the mat. When he dropped to the mat, almost like a full Nelson kind of clutch submission hold while he's laying on his back. Apollo Crews had nowhere to go, so he unfortunately had to tap out. So it is good to see these guys finally pick up a championship, on their own. That wasn't kind of, MVP style where all of a sudden he creates the new U.S. title. But the fact is, the surprising thing about this was poor sport Crews after the match. So basically he went, and as they were celebrating and posing for pictures, everything else, Apollo Crews goes and attacks them from behind, gets basically, shoot from the rings, so to speak, but he's going up the ramp and you can hear him on camera being like, I'm going to get that championship back, and this and that. So maybe a heel turn for Apollo Crews. I know the Hurt Business has been looking good. But the fact is, we'll have to wait and see what happens with Apollo Crews for this. I know, like I said in the preview show that I had done, he's one of the most underrated wrestlers on the roster, but I don't think the gimmick is working for him. So we'll have to wait and see what happens with him going forward. Especially tomorrow night on Raw. So match number 2 of the night for the main show, Big E defeats Sheamus by pinfall with big ending. Basically just a hard-hitting match between the two of them. Sheamus was going after, I think, Big E's left knee for the most of the night, and all of a sudden had put him in. It looked like he was going for the clover leap, but he had spun it around into another submission move. So basically, it was submission Sheamus, so to speak, looking to try to get the win that way. And then Big E just comes up out of nowhere and basically hits him with the big ending, wins the match, goes to Corey Graves after the match and says, my time is now, so to speak. And, keep an eye on me, keep an eye on me, keep an eye on me, so to speak. And Corey Graves is putting him over. And so, it looks like the start of the push, so to speak, for Big E beating up on Sheamus here on the pay-per-view. So match number 3, Matt Riddle, I'm going to eventually get his name right, defeats Baron Corbin by pinfall with the Flying Bro. Poor Sport Corbin, highlight was Poor Sports tonight, beating up on Matt Riddle backstage as he's being interviewed. A little bit of tension right before the match. One of the new interviewers had gone and said something about a tweet that Baron Corbin had said. The tweet had said something like, hey, I'm going to make sure that you look bad in the ring, the same way you look bad as a husband or something like that, or you failed as a husband. So, that was kind of a shot where all of a sudden you see usually happy Matt Riddle. His face just dropped and he's, angry going to the ring. So, but interesting to see him go over. I predicted Baron Corbin to win this one. Obviously, I was wrong, but Matt Riddle looks strong in this match, so we'll have to wait and see where he ends up this way. Maybe eventually fighting for the Intercontinental Championship, which would be kind of cool. From there, we go into match number 4, and this was Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax becoming new women's tag team champions. They defeat Bayley and Sasha Banks by submission to become the new champs. Coolest thing about this is, and I'm going to show a screenshot here. Just bear with me a second. Just going to set up the screen on the other side. Here we go. So yeah, the coolest thing about this, as you can see, is obviously you can't see on audio, so I'll give you what I'm showing here. But anyways, it was Shayna Baszler, and she attacks Sasha Banks first, and then gets a hold of Bayley. And then as she gets a hold of the two of them, she slaps on a submission hold to Sasha. And then Bayley gets, part of that submission as well. And as you can see in this picture, it was actually a cool moment, something I've never seen before. The announcers was putting it over. Twitter was putting it over. But she ends up using Sasha Banks' arm across Bayley's chin. So she actually ends up using, Sasha Banks to basically win the match for her and Nia Jax using the submission hold. But it was a kind of cool moment to see. Like I said, you can see in the screenshot there of Shayna Baszler tapping out Bayley. The end of the match, Shayna and Nia are celebrating. I think Charlie Caruso coming into the ring to do the interview, and Bayley and Sasha just kind of looking at each other. And all of a sudden, it's like you realize that Sasha Banks no longer has a title. The only title that exists between her and Bayley right now is the SmackDown Women's Championship. So obviously, we know where that's going. But pretty cool moment, pretty cool spot in the match there. But like I said, a lot of people were predicting it was going to be the end of Sasha Banks and Bayley anyways, so we'll have to wait and see when they actually end up fighting. I'll get more to that after I go through the rest of the matches here. Next match number 5, Keith Lee defeating Randy Orton by pinfall with the Spirit Bomb. This was a clean finish. So coolest thing in the world was the fact is Randy Orton made Keith Lee look tremendously strong with this. It wasn't like it was on Monday Night Raw. It was one big kind of cluster and Drew McIntyre was involved. This basically put over Keith Lee like the superstar that he is. Not sure about the gimmick, where they're going with it. Still trying to get used to the new theme song. The new look of Keith Lee. At one point, he looked like he had a grass skirt coming on when he's coming to the ring, almost like tribute to Kamala, but a couple of weeks late. But I'm not sure where they're going with the character. It's still Limitless Keith Lee. But rumor has that they're maybe going to change that Limitless nickname for him as well. So I guess we'll have to wait and see on that. But yeah, Keith Lee going over strong on Randy Orton. Randy Orton put him over huge. And Keith Lee definitely looked like a superstar in this one. So good to see. Hopefully the momentum carries. Hopefully, it's not a one-off. Obviously, I think Randy Orton's still going to continue to face Drew McIntyre for the championship, probably eventually end up winning it. But I think this with Keith Lee, especially having the U.S. Championship on Raw, I'd love to see a match between him and Bobby Lashley. I think it'd be phenomenal. So Keith Lee with the win on this. Next match of the night, match number 6. So semi-main event, so to speak. The Mysterios defeating Rollins and Murphy by pinfall. Dominic looked strong, looked really, really good in this match. Hit the 619 Frog Splash combo on Murphy to get the win. There was a little bit of chaos between Buddy Murphy, or just Murphy, and Seth Rollins, where he got, I think it was Dominic got shot in the corner, and Murphy ended up kicking Rollins as opposed to Dominic. And the next thing you know, all of a sudden there's dissension, and Rollins is out of the match. Murphy's in the ring. He ends up getting the 619, and then the like I said, the frog splash, to give Dominic the win. First win, I think, in WWE because, well, first official kind of in ring win, because you had him losing to Seth Rollins at SummerSlam. You had them winning by DQ because of Retribution last week on Raw. But all of a sudden now he's got his first official win in a tag team match with his dad, which is kind of, really, really cool. Note on this is Rey Mysterio taking on Seth Rollins tomorrow night on Raw. So if you have the ability to watch Raw tomorrow night, check that out. Hopefully that might seal the deal as far as the feud goes between Seth and Rey Mysterio. And like I said, Seth Rollins has seen his disciple kind of, not do his job tonight. So this might be the end of the Seth Rollins Monday Night Messiah character as we go towards the end of the year, but we'll have to wait and see on that. And then next match of the night is the main event. So it was different. It was exciting. It was, you have these three guys going into it. And the biggest factor, the biggest highlight about it was Roman Reigns making his return. So he makes his return, and all of a sudden he's at SummerSlam. He does what he does, and then you see him on SmackDown. And then next thing you know, the match is tonight. Well, Strowman came out, and The Fiend came out, and The Fiend came out first. And when The Fiend came out and during his entrance, Strowman attacked him. When Strowman attacked him, there was no Roman Reigns in sight. There was no theme music, nothing at all. So it was almost like a one-on-one match. So no Roman Reigns to start the match. So they're going back and forth and hitting each other with the finishers and this and that, to the point that it was basically just, as JR likes to put it, a slobber knocker, and still no Roman Reigns. So two things about this. Number one, they kept showing Alexa Bliss backstage anytime The Fiend was on screen. So obviously they're continuing on with that story. Alexa Bliss still with the double ponytail, so to speak. So we'll have to wait and see if she's actually going to be Sister Abigail, or, whatever the case is going to happen with her. But the fact is they're continuing that storyline between her and The Fiend. So this is what happens. They go up to the top rope. This is the Fiend and Braun Strowman. Fiend's got him up there. Fiend hits a superplex. And if you've ever seen Brock Lesnar in the Big Show on SmackDown from way back in the day with the ring imploded, this was the exact same thing. And it was like, holy, you know what? Try not to swear on anything I do as far as CWN goes. But so the ring implodes. The referee, I think, he looked like, obviously he's playing character, but he looked like he jumped over the top rope. So it was even more funnier than Mike Chioda, when Chioda had actually been part of that. I think he was the referee for the Big Show and Brock Lesnar. But the fact is, referee goes over the top rope. Announcers are freaking out. Then all of a sudden, you hear Roman Reigns' music. Paul Heyman arrives with the steel chair, signs his contract on the way to the ring, and then basically comes down and then tries to pin The Fiend. It doesn't work. Tries to pin Strowman. Doesn't work. At one point, he had fallen out of the ring, because the fact is he went to go lean on the ropes. He forgot that the ropes were no longer intact, so to speak. So he ends up falling down, gets back in the ring, spears Braun Strowman to become the new champ, the championship, so to speak, that he never lost. So Roman Reigns, once again, Universal Champion. It's been a strong week for him. You see his return on SummerSlam, his affiliation with Heyman. Heyman wasn't really part of the match. Heyman kind of just stood up the very top of the ring entrance, or the ring ramp, and let Roman Reigns do his thing. And then they celebrated together at the very end of the show as the show went off the air. But like I said, Roman Reigns, new champ as far as the Universal Championship goes. So, and the cool thing is they made The Fiend look strong, because The Fiend wasn't the one to take the pinfall. It was Braun Strowman. So we'll have to wait and see where this ends up. But I think I went, let me see here. I think I went maybe 5 for 8 with my predictions. I got Riot Squad I had picked, Lashley I had picked, Big E I had picked, Riddle I didn't, Baszler and Jax I did, Lee I think I might have picked him, Mysterios I did. Maybe I did better than I thought. I'll have to go back and check. But anyways, guys, that was WWE Payback 2020. They announced WWE Clash of Champions taking place the next pay-per-view. So it had been reported September 27th at the Amway Center, also known as the WWE Thunderdome. But that is the next pay-per-view taking place for the WWE. So here I will do this. So I mentioned what I was going to put match of the night as well as rest of the night. Match of the night has to be this. Has to be The Fiend versus Braun Strowman versus Roman Reigns. Simply put, I didn't think, I would have put Randy Orton, Keith Lee before this, but then when I saw this match, the highlights, just the way it played out, the fact that they kept the Fiend strong, the fact is that Roman Reigns is back as champion, the fact how they did it all, and then the ring imploding, I couldn't get enough of it. So Roman Reigns is back. Like I said, he's a strong champion. Never really lost the title, and they made the Fiend still look strong. So match of the night right there. So the Fiend versus, excuse me, Braun Strowman versus Roman Reigns. Too much talking. And then wrestler of the night, I got to say this, Shayna Baszler, simply for the fact that she, looked like her dominating self tonight. She, it's unfortunate that they kind of misused her. She was going on main event. That was the only time you get to see her. She should have been stronger than what she was, but because of booking, whatever the case may be, they kind of put her on the back burner. And now all of a sudden she's looking strong again. She's new tag team champion with Nia Jax. And then that double submission she had hit on Bayley and Banks at the very end. How much stronger can you get in the women's division to basically have both tag team champions, as well as the former Raw champion, as well as the current SmackDown champion, tap out at the same time to the same move because of one woman? So yeah, Shayna Baszler, like I said, is completely strong in this, and I got to give her wrestler of the night. So guys, like I said, Clash of Champions taking place September the 27th on pay-per-view. I'd like to say we're going to take a break from recap, but we aren't, because next Saturday, so 6 days away from AEW All Out 2020. Unfortunately, I won't be able to see that live, so you probably see the recap show take place on the Sunday, but we will get it out there. But yeah, it's been hot for wrestling. I mean, everything's starting to come back slowly. My poor Raptors, hence the hat up there, had lost today against Boston. So I mean, I love Boston. I love the Patriots. I love the Red Sox. But when it comes to basketball, as a Canadian, just as a fan, I'm a Raptors fan. But tough to see them lose, and it wasn't even close kind of in the fourth quarter and this and that. So, like I said, you'll see the next recap take place sometime next weekend, which means predictions for AEW All Out taking place as well. You will see me back this coming Thursday, I think at 7 p.m. live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch, as far as doing CWN Weekly. That'll be episode number 3. So we'll talk a little bit about Payback, but mostly about all the news taking place this coming week. And we'll do Raw follow-ups, as well as AEW NXT follow-ups. NXT, that big super show taking place on the Tuesday. Super Tuesday, as they're calling it. So that's going to be absolutely phenomenal. And, of course, the ratings, everything else. So, guys, it's been great. Like I said, you want to follow us, follow the website, follow on social media, simply CWN Online, and then email address is feedback@cwnonline.ca. Guys, if you missed the show, go back and watch it. It was, like I said, is better than SummerSlam, and because of what happened with Karrion Kross, better than NXT TakeOver. I'm going to say this. I'm going to say that basically, if you have a chance just to see any of the matches tonight, check out Keith Lee and Randy Orton, or check out the main event that featured the triple threat match there, because it was a good show. So again, me personally, Chris Maloney at Chris Maloney CWN, as far as my Twitter goes, if you want to follow me there. I'm also on Instagram. I don't post a lot on Instagram, but again, once live wrestling starts to get back, you'll see me posting a lot more. But that is the best way to get in touch with me there. So guys, it's been great. My voice is kind of tired. Wasn't necessarily yelling at the screen, but it was an exciting show. So like I said, we will be back this coming Thursday at 7 o'clock live for the next edition of CWN Weekly, and that'll be episode number 3. So guys, if you're listening, watching, thanks a lot. I love doing this, and we'll see you again this coming Thursday. All right, take care.